We're looking at interventions that could deliver, say, much better disease resistance. That's a huge one.
Huge, yeah. Cuts down losses, maybe less reliance on treatments.
Precisely. Or creating sterile lines, improving tolerance to environmental stressors like water temperature changes.
Making farms more resilient.
Right. And then for the consumer, imagine fish with higher omega-3 content naturally.
A whole new era of communication in the global aquaculture industry is coming. Now you have the brightest minds in aquaculture right in your pocket. And what's best? You can listen to all of them while driving to a farm, traveling, or running errands. It's never been this good, and it's never been this simple. Welcome to the Aquaculture Podcast Show, the first AI-based podcast in aquaculture, where you'll find cutting-edge insights in everything that's working in aquaculture, nutrition, health, and production.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're jumping right into something really shaping the future of aquaculture. We're talking about how advanced genetic tools are changing the game for sustainable production.
Yeah, absolutely.
Demand for aquatic foods is just skyrocketing, right? Aquaculture already gives us over half our aquatic protein from, nearly 500 species?
That's right. And integrating this precision genome engineering gives us huge opportunities, but also some real challenges to figure out.
Definitely. So our mission today is to kind of cut through that complexity, pull out the key insights for you on this really transformative tech.
Exactly. We'll look at how these tools promise some, pretty remarkable enhancements. Think animal welfare, nutrition, farm efficiency. And we'll also get into the technical nuts and bolts and the systematic approaches needed to make sure it's all done responsibly. It's fascinating because there's potential here to really push the limits of aquatic food production.
Okay, so let's unpack that. Why are these advanced genetic tools so critical, right now? Aquaculture's had these persistent problems for ages. Disease susceptibility wiping out farms, limits on growth, nutrition.
Why Genetics turns podcast airtime into brand authority. We don't sell ads, we elevate voices. Curious how far your voice can go to become a reference in the industry and attract more leads? Scan the QR code and discover how we can turn your expertise into unmatched brand authority. Let's transform expertise into influence, starting now.
How do these new approaches offer a real path forward?
Well, the key thing is they let us make highly targeted changes with incredible precision, like surgical precision almost. This specificity means we can either disrupt things we don't want in the genome.
Like disease susceptibility genes.
Exactly. Or enhance the beneficial stuff. And the result promises rapid, substantial improvement in traits, especially for those traits with really complex genetics or the ones that have just been, really tough to tackle with traditional breeding. That's where the power lies.
Okay, so what does that mean in practice for the industry? Can you give us some concrete examples of the kinds of, transformative improvements we might see?
Sure, absolutely. We're looking at interventions that could deliver, say, much better disease resistance. That's a huge one.
Huge, yeah. Cuts down losses, maybe less reliance on treatments.
Precisely. Or creating sterile lines, improving tolerance to environmental stressors like water temperature changes.
Making farms more resilient.
Right. And then for the consumer, imagine fish with higher omega-3 content naturally. Or think about common carp, a staple food for over 1 billion people. Imagine engineering them without those tiny little intramuscular bones.
Wow, boneless carp. That would be a game changer for acceptance.
These aren't just small tweaks. They could genuinely improve public health, improve consumer appeal, really shift things on a big scale.
Okay, that sounds amazing. But implementing this stuff, it can't be simple. What are the big technical hurdles? What's the industry wrestling with right now?
Oh, it's definitely not plug and play. First off, just identifying the right target genes. That itself is a challenge. You need really sophisticated genomic tools to pinpoint the exact spots linked to the traits you want. Then once you make those precise edits, maybe changing a single nucleotide or inserting or deleting something, you have to rigorously check everything. We're talking unintended off-target effects, potential interactions with other genes. Epistatic effects, they call them. Those can lead to, unpredictable outcomes.
Okay, so that's the lab side. What about moving these innovations out of the lab and into, actual farm operations? Integrating them.
That's another really significant challenge, Deploying these optimized lines, it needs careful planning, with existing breeding programs.
You can't just drop them in.
No, exactly. You need to actively manage genetic diversity, avoid inbreeding over time, make sure they fit into these often complex, multi-layered production systems. And there's ongoing work, too, refining how we deliver the edits efficiently, reducing issues like mosaicism, where not all cells get the edit.
Right.
Scaling up from a lab proof of concept to full commercial production. It's non-trivial, especially with fish having such high numbers of offspring and external fertilization. Lots to manage.
Makes sense. The potential benefits are clear, but like any powerful tool, there's responsibility. A big concern often raised is interaction with wild populations. How's the industry addressing that?
That's a really important point. The potential for genetic mixing, if farmed fish escape, is definitely on the radar.
Yeah.
So the industry is very focused on developing lines that are sterile or maybe have much lower survival chances out in the wild, containment strategies.
Built-in biological containment.
Exactly. And we've seen proof of concept work on this, creating sterile Atlantic salmon, for instance, through targeted gene disruption. It shows it's technically possible and likely more acceptable.
So it's not just, can we do this, but how do we do this responsibly right from the start?
Precisely. And it's not just about mitigating risk. These tools can actually offer real ecological benefits, too.
How so?
Well, if you improve disease resistance, like we talked about, or make fish convert feed more efficiently, you could potentially reduce the need for things like chemical treatments, antibiotics, antiparasitics. That could significantly shrink the industry's environmental footprint overall. It's about aiming for a net positive.
Okay, it really sounds like the industry is pushing for a structured, science-first approach here. What does that kind of assessment, that framework, actually look like?
Yeah, there's a move towards a pretty comprehensive multi-criteria framework to guide decisions. It generally covers about 9 key areas. Things like genetic impacts on wild populations, local ecology, disease risk reduction.
Okay.
The specific nature of the edit itself, the overall environmental footprint, animal welfare, human nutrition, ethical business practices, and community impacts, too.
Wow, that is a thorough list. What's the real goal behind having such a detailed checklist?
The main goal is to make sure deployment is, well, judicious, evidence-based, and socially responsible. It forces transparency. You need input from different stakeholders, clear documentation of the benefits, the risks, how you'll mitigate those risks, and what the likely net outcome is.
So you weigh the pros and cons systematically.
Exactly. You rate the likelihood and the size of positive and negative effects for each point.
Yeah.
And really, only the applications where there's strong evidence of a clear net benefit with minimal remaining risk should move towards commercial use. It's about building confidence through rigor.
Well, this has been quite the deep dive into advanced genetic tools in aquaculture. We've seen how they're right on the edge of delivering some truly transformative benefits, but also how that requires really careful handling of technical challenges and comprehensive risk assessment.
Yeah, the sector's future competitiveness, and frankly its social license to operate, really hinges on getting that balance right. Innovation, safety, public good, these robust assessment frameworks, collaborative governance, they're going to be absolutely essential to harness the potential responsibly.
And for you, our listener, this points towards a future where hopefully science and careful stewardship work together to meet that growing global demand for aquatic protein. It also makes you wonder, perhaps, how these kinds of rigorous frameworks might influence other fast-moving biotechnologies in food production down the line. Something to think about. We hope this deep dive gave you plenty to chew on.
If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to follow the Aquaculture Podcast Show on your favorite platform. And don't forget to follow us on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook to stay updated on the latest episodes and industry insights. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.